So we'll start off with this shelf. These are the Zeo Automorphin Figures from 1996. They came out when the show Power Rangers Zeo was out, the sequel to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And these ones were neat in the respect that they morph in both directions. And I'll show you in a second that the Mighty Morphin ones don't do that. So these are cool. And obviously I have all six. This one technically isn't a Mighty or a Automorph. I'm still looking for one, but I mean, you have all six Rangers there. And then on this side, you have the original Mighty Morphin Automorphin Figures. So these only morph in one direction, from civilian to helmet mode. Right? So he's in civilian mode. Click it, and that's it. But these are really neat. I really like them. I like how they look. The plastic's pretty decent. This one's probably from 1993. Yep, 1993. Around the time of Mighty Morphin. And then over here, I actually have some Alien Ranger figures. So these weren't sold for Alien Rangers. These were sold for the Sentai equivalent in Japan and in Asia. I believe that Alien Ranger figures are more akin to these figures you'll see later that aren't automorphin. But these are actually made in Japan. These are like little Safubi, similar to this guy here and this one here made by Poppy, but this one's made by Bandai, still Bandai. And I really like these. These are really neat. I got them from the same guy that I got this Mazinger Z from Vietnam. Not too expensive, and definitely a lot cheaper than buying the Bandai America Alien Ranger sets. If you guys are familiar with those, they're really hard to find. Most of them are boxed. I mean, the Alien Rangers was a really short season. It was only about 13 episodes, about maybe 10-15, and it was a gap season to shift Mighty Morphin Power Rangers into Zeo. So there's not a ton of merchandise on these guys. And personally, I love these. You'll see more of these similar fashion figures later on in the video. So moving higher up the shelf, we have the Power Rangers in their ninja modes. So I'm not too sure if these were for the movie. I think they were. They also did this in the TV show as well. I believe season 3. Personally, I don't like these. I think they're pretty ugly. I mean, they all have their own gimmicks and stuff. So here, this is Adam. He was I think this is the movie version. So I think this one punches, right? So they all have like these little dials in the back. Yeah, so he punches. And you know, they're neat toys. I'm just not a fan of like the whole ninja aesthetic personally. I like, you know, suits and stuff. But I mean, for a toy from the 90s, it looks pretty good. You know who's who, which is pretty nice. But you know, it's just not me, right? I have them for the sake of completing, I guess, this sort of scale of figure, you know, because I have the Zeo, I have the Alien, I have the Mighty Morphin, and then I have them in the ninja form, right? And, you know, Tommy's there as the White Ranger, so I don't have a Automorphin White at the moment, but, you know, that all leads up to the final row here, or the final set of this scale of figure is the movie figures, you know? So, I mean, if you look over here, I have a poster of the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger movie, right? And the suits are really different than the original cartoon. Like, they're almost armored up. And so it was kind of weird. What they did for the movie was make these, which are just like shiny versions of the standard figures. I mean, they're almost like the same size. Yeah, it's probably better. As the Automorphin. I mean, the head sculpt's almost the same. But these are really neat. They look really cool in nice light. I like how shiny they look. They more kind of remind me of when they had the metallic powers. I believe again in season 3 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But yeah, these are the figures that represent, like, I guess the movie section of this display, right? You have your original Mighty Morphin, like I said, Alien Rangers, Zeo, when they're ninjas, and then these would be the movie figures. So that's those guys. And again, just a quick pass through one more time. These are toys. Like, they're just really neat. They're fun. I think they look good. I really like the colors. Very consistent with each other. I love these, like I said. And if you've noticed, I have all the power coins of the main 5 Rangers here. So here's red, yellow, black, blue, and pink. And you'll see the rest of the power coins in the video as well. So if you look here, I have a few villains, you know. Again, these are from the 90s, 1993 probably. They're in the style of Sofubi, so they're kind of soft plastic. They're not made in Japan. They're Chinese made. And then obviously you got Lord Zed, you got Goldar. They have a bunch of others, other monsters. I personally only really wanted the main ones. I always wish they made a Rita one, but luckily Hasbro made one. And there's also a small Bandai figure, but I like this one more. And then here in the back, those are the original 8-inch Mighty Morphin action figures. That's black and pink. They're pretty easy to get. I mean, they made so many. I have a lot of these figures, but this is probably one of my cheapest parts of my collection, just because, if you're aware, Mighty Morphin was one of the biggest toy franchises of all time. Especially at the time, they just made so many figures. So finding these in box is pretty much paying the same price as a figure you'd buy today, like $20, $30. And on this side, it's blue and yellow. And then the villain from the movie. Again, brand new in box, great shape. You could probably find them at your local comics bookstore or vintage toy shop. And then in the center, as you've probably noticed, this is the Legacy Zeo Gold Zeo Staff. Really cool. I really like that one. And then again, these are the Legacy Zeonizers. So I took off the straps. They're easy to take off and put on. And I just have them mounted on the wall next to the Zeo Staff. So you'll see a lot of vintage figures, but you won't see any vintage, I guess, weapons from Mighty Morphin or Zeo in my collection. I'm not too keen on getting those. I don't think they display super well. I mean, this person, I think this looks incredible. I really like this. And if you were there during the GameStop days, this wasn't too expensive. I think at one point it went down to $60, maybe even on Amazon. So that was a steal. So yeah, that's that part of this collection. So over here, this is pretty much, I guess what you would say, it's my Legacy line Power Ranger collection. These are mostly Legacy figures. You'll see a few vintage figures sprinkled here and there. But, and it's also a shrine for Tommy and Jason, or Tommy and the Red Ranger, really. I mean, they're, you know, I'm very basic when it comes to this stuff. Like, you know, one of my favorite Transformers is Optimus Prime. One of my favorite Gundams is the original RX-78-2. You know, classics like Godzilla versus Mothra. That suit's probably my favorite. You know, I didn't stray too far from the main sort of things. I mean, that's why I pretty much only collect Mighty Morphin, which is usually a lot of people's favorite, I guess, sort of aesthetic as far as Power Rangers go. And the Power Rangers they usually remember, or when you think of Power Rangers, like, they're the main ones. So for me, Jason and Tommy are always my favorite. I always loved the Red Ranger, and who didn't like the Green Ranger? Everyone wanted to be the Green Ranger, and by default, the Green Ranger turning into the White Ranger, you wanted to be the White Ranger. So this is pretty much my shrine to them. And on the bottom here, so these are pretty much the Legacy Megazords as well as Chokokin Megazords. So this is the Titanic Chokokin. I guess, I don't know if they put the DX moniker on these, but that's what this is, right? Really, this is just the Legacy Titanic from what I've heard. This is just the Legacy Titanus with a little bit more metal, and that's about it. I mean, a lot of people don't have complaints about that figure. So, and this figure is pretty good. It just, if that's the same figure as this, I don't know why they sold this for so much money. I think I spent about $200 just on this one alone. Overall, he's really nice. I personally like this a lot. Most of the time, I like the vintage figure more. In this case, I actually like this more. I think this is really, really nice. The paint's really good. I really like these, like, weird decals. It's really heavy. Really solid figure. I really like that. So if you look here, what do we got? It's moving in. So here we have the Soul of Chokokin Megazord, the Dinozord. So this is a highly sought after figure. I got it on Amazon, I'd say almost 2 years ago. This is the American release. So he's actually called Megazord, I believe, on the box, and it's in English. So it's usually an import toy. If you're unaware, Chokokin's usually is like a very high end line by Bandai, Soul of Chokokin, that they pretty much make almost like they're just a high end version of old Japanese robots. I guess would be the best way to describe it. So maybe think like Voltron, Mazinger Z, Gigantor, Getter Robo, stuff like that. And in this case, this is the Dinozord. And I really like this figure. I think it's beautiful. It's really nice. It's really heavy. I mean, it better be. It retailed at $300 when it came out. I got it for a little bit cheaper. It's worth a lot more now, because everyone's trying to get it now. But I think in this case, what's ironic, and I think this goes with the line itself, more so with these live action things. Like, cartoons a little different, because a cartoon's a cartoon, whereas like Power Rangers, the Megazord was an actual object, right? It's a man in a costume. And in this case, and this what makes it very odd to me, this figure looks better than the actual TV show itself. And it throws me off a bit, right? Like, I can't say it's not nice, because it's super nice. But it looks better than the source material. So it really throws me off. And in that respect, I think, and you'll see later on, I personally think the original 1993 Megazord with repro labels is a better representation of the Megazord than this thing. Because this thing's so nice. It sounds really dumb. It's a very weird nitpick. But it's not my favorite Megazord. It's probably my least favorite one as far as the Dinozords go. Because it's so nice. Really weird, but I just thought I'd add that. And then over here, I have the SH Figure Art Power Ranger figures. These are hard to come by. I know most people are shifting to the Hasbro Lightning collection. You know, I've bought in a few of those figures, and most of them I put into storage. I'm not a super big fan of them, personally. I don't think they display, like, super great. I think they're worth it if, like, you're an action figure collector, but me personally, I mean, first of all, I'm just not a big, I don't like humanoid action figures very much. I like robots, right? I just think joints look weird, and they just display weird. I think it looks fine on robots, because robots have actual, like, robotic joints like this. But in this case, I still wanted the best representation of the Rangers at the time when I bought this. I don't think the Ace Toys was out yet. So I went with these guys instead of going with Hasbro, even though probably one of these figures would have been the same price as the entire Hasbro team, or maybe two. I bought them off, secondhand off, a good collector. I think relative to market price, I did pretty well on these. I mean, but the thing is, I'm going to replace these 100% with the upcoming 3-0 toys. Again, I hate joints. I don't like how they look. I'm not a big human action figure collection. Like, you won't be an action figure collector. You won't see any really superheroes in my collection or human characters. I'm not a big fan of it. I really like robots. But I still wanted the team, right? So I have all of them. White, pink, black, red, blue, yellow, and green. No variants. Just the original versions. So I don't have the armored red, armored black, anything like that. And then I have, you know, this little Bandai. I think maybe it was like the 20th anniversary set of helmets that are supposed to go on a little plaque, but I took them out. I think it looks better like this, personally. And then I got these little coasters, and they're only up here because, you know, I play right here. And I don't always like having my drinks on this side. I mean, I still have coasters here, but sometimes I like putting like maybe my beer up here. It's just a personal thing. So then over here, we have the Legacy Thunder Megazord. I have him in carrier mode, mostly because he would fit here if I had him in combined normal Megazord mode, but also because he contrasts well with Titanus over here, who in himself is just a carrier Zord. That's like what they're designated as, carrier Zord. Him, Tor, Pyramidus, they're carrier Zords, right? And this is considered, I believe the actual term is carrier assault mode. It's essentially just a piece of, it's like a piece of plastic, and it puts it in like a sled form that allows all the figures to sit on top of. I mean, the pink Phoenix here, Pink Ranger's little Phoenix, is in like a kind of weird spot. I don't know why it's like that, but I still think it looks cool. And funny story about this one is, I got this at GameStop when it went on sale for $140. And then the next day, it went on clearance for $20. And I'm really close with the people at my local GameStop, so I saw the receipt. It was the next day, so they refunded me the $120, and I got this figure for $20, and this next figure over here, which is one of my favorite in my collection, the Legacy Ninja Megazord. And personally, I love this Megazord. It's probably my favorite Megazord that I own, and I have every single Legacy Megazord. I have every single vintage original Zeo through Mighty Morphin through Zeo Megazord. I have all the Chokokin Megazords for Mighty Morphin, and this one's probably my favorite. I adore this figure. I think it looks phenomenal. I think it's really, really, like, it's a good homage to the original toy itself. Here, I might as well just grab it here, right? Or show you here, just real quick. So here's the original toy, right? And you have this like really cheap gray plastic here, like this really cheap gray plastic. This yellow is kind of like almost like piss yellow. It's like kind of funky looking. But then you have this, and it's so rich in color. The chrome here really makes a difference. The silver paint really makes a difference. Like, everything's so well done. It has this really nice retro Japanese toy looking design. So, I mean, that really just owes itself to the original design of the robot from the show, right? I just think, ironically, during the TV show, this was probably my least favorite Megazord, because he didn't have any sort of actual hand weapons. He just had these, like, the wolf and the ape, and he like do like this punchy attack thing. And personally, I always like swords and staffs and stuff like that. So in the TV show, he wasn't my favorite. Oh, and also the sequence when they get like transformed together was kind of weird. Like the frog is bizarre. But then what you have here is just this toy that looks so good displayed. The chrome's so nice. The paint is so nice. The fact that when it came out, it was only $100, I think was, even for that price, it's worth it. I mean, I got it for $20, so I like, if anything, I wish I was able to buy more, right? And I think I ended up paying $80 for it. But again, I bought these two simultaneously, and they both went on clearance for $20 the next day. So I went back, and they gave me the difference again for this one. So again, probably my favorite Megazord in my collection. Probably it's easily one of my favorite toys in my collection. I think he's great. I think he displays well in any light. I mean, he's not posable. It doesn't. These toys really don't do much. I think it's ironic, especially in this case, you know. But, you know, he has more articulation than all the original figures, but you're probably just going to have him standing in this normal form anyway. Like, just a very static pose. Just like the TV show, the cartoon. But in that case, that's what makes this look so great. It just looks like a really, really cool homage to the original figure. A really good homage to the show. And an overall, just a beautiful looking figure. I love it. I think this is great. So again, that's this shelf. These are pretty much Legacy and Chokokin shelf, I would say. They never made a Legacy Shogun Zord, so I wish, I really wish Bandai could have made one before they handed it over to Hasbro, because so far I haven't been too impressed with Hasbro as far as like higher end collectibles go. But that's them. Also, I have one of my few Hasbro figures that are, it's actually in my display collection. This is Alpha 5. You saw earlier, I actually had this Alpha 5 too. This is from the Command Center playset. I don't have the playset, but it's really hard to find this figure in particular. So I'm really happy to have that in my collection. And I think the Hasbro one is decent. I think, ironically, my video camera right now is making him look a lot better than he actually is. I think this red plastic isn't super nice. The colors look kind of muted. But he's coming out pretty good in the camera right now. I still like to have him here, though. I think he's important to the team. So, you know, just having him here is nice. And then if you saw over here, just real quick, this is the combined Power Blaster. This is from the Figuarts line, and so you need all of them to make this. You don't buy this separately, and it's a bitch to put together, but you know, I put it here. It looks nice. It's super detailed. Like, I don't know, let's see if I can focus. Yep, it's super detailed, really nice. I tried posing them one time, put them all together. It's a hassle, so right now they're kind of static. I'll probably fix them up a bit. Red Ranger looks kind of weird, but that's those guys. A really nice shelf. So moving here, this is the Tommy Green Ranger shelf. So we're going to start off with the Legacy Green Ranger helmet. Again, this is the Legacy one from Bandai. People don't like this helmet too much. The color's kind of weird. The shape's kind of weird. It's really big. I don't mind it. I think it's fine. I'm sure Hasbro will make one, as they've already made the red and green, red and white, as you'll see here. So that's that. It's nice. I'm happy to have it. I bought it when it restocked. I believe 2019 it restocked. I was really happy to get it because the prices were shooting up on it. So, you know, it's nice. And then here, so I have the Legacy Megazord with the Dragonzord to make it Legacy Dragonzord to make it Dragonzord Battle Mode. Yep, that's the correct term. I need to go grab the box and put his real weapon. So usually he has his tail with the staff as a weapon. The Dragon Staff, I believe it's called, something like that. But right now he just has the normal Megazord weapon. So that's not really correct. I have him, just need to take him out of the box, out of storage. And I thought I would do this in this case because, as you'll see, you know, I have the Megazord here, Dragon Battle Mode, and you'll see the Ultra Megazord later on. Plus, here is the Soulja Goken Dragonzord. I bought this from Bluefin Direct. So Bluefin usually handles all the American distribution of Japanese Bandai import toys. Like, they all go through them. I think next time, if you ever look at your import toy that's from Japan, that's made by Bandai, you'll see a sticker in the back that says Bluefin Distributions. I mean, here, I bought a figure, even from Target recently. This is a Gundam figure. See right here, distributed by Bluefin. So I bought directly from the American distributor of Bandai import toys and got this for half off, which is still a lot of money. This is like a $175 figure. And I believe I got it for like $75 or something like that. Like, it was a really good deal. It was a Black Friday deal. I originally wasn't going to plan to get this one, but they got me because it was so cheap. And because I got this one, obviously, I was like, what the heck? Why not get this one too? So I have all three. Originally I had them all combined. But honestly, I think it looks like a mess combined. And they're really expensive figures. And they look much better by themselves. So having them put together and looking like this really expensive $700, $600, $500 mess, however much it would cost. Like, it didn't look nice. But individually, they look really great. And I think this is a really, really, really nice figure. People complain about the articulation of it, especially because it's an expensive figure. I don't have a problem with it. Again, I use the show as reference. And in the show, I mean, he really didn't move that much, right? He wiggles his arms a bit, his tail waggles around. He does everything the show can do, so that's enough for me, personally. Again, here's the Legacy. And then, I'm not a big statue guy, but for $50, I'm really, really impressed with these. A little bit of dust here. With these PCS collectibles figures. And I think they're doing all the Rangers now. I saw a Goldar, a Rita, a Draken Evo, but I think they're also doing black, pink, blue. I think they're going through all of them. But for $50, it's actually really, really, really nice. Right? And I'm pretty sure that, you know, GameStop always has clearance sales and stuff. So I have the three. Green, you'll see white and red later. So I have that. This one's a Bandai Kotobuya or whatever. I think just a statue. Again, really nice. Bandai's really good with this stuff. I'm not super big into statues. I think they only made this one. There was supposed to be a red one, and I would have bought the red one, but it never came out. So I just have this green one, and it's a really, really well done little statue here. And so here, this is just the same line as this. I don't know where to put it here, so he just goes in the Green Ranger Shrine. And over here, this is the Legacy Mighty Morphin Dragon Morpher. Dragon Morpher, in this case. And it comes with both coins. So I put the White Ranger coin here, just so not to lose it. You'll see up here, I bought two. I'll explain later. But I put it here so I don't lose it. I could probably put it back in the box, but I think it looks fine there. So that's this shelf. There's still a little bit more to it. So if you look over here, so Bandai, or Hasbro too, has never made an official Sword of Darkness. I'm sorry, this is the Sword of Darkness sword. They never made one. I don't think even in the original line they made one. And if you go on eBay, you could find like a cosplay replica, but they're pretty expensive. They're like $100-something. And personally, I'm not a huge fan of buying like an unofficial product like that besides Transformers at that price, especially for a toy brand that's relatively, I want to say the word inexpensive. I mean, some of these are pretty expensive, but they're not crazy expensive relative to other series. I mean, the Legacy lines I think is actually pretty decently priced for quote-unquote adult collectibles, right? I mean, you'll see in other lines they're a lot more expensive. I mean, the Legacy Megazord when it first came out was $60, which I think is pretty reasonable. So spending $110 on something, I mean, that would be more expensive than this Legacy Dragon Dagger at retail price. I believe this Legacy Dragon Dagger was $80 when I got it at GameStop. And it's super nice, made of metal. It's not like some cheap resin or whatever I would be buying from China if I were buying from eBay. So in this case, this is actually just a wooden piece. It's just wood. I bought it off Etsy. I think it was like $35. And I personally think it gets the job done. It looks really nice. I could probably fill in, so it's actually pretty detailed. They probably use like laser etching or something to do it. And it was all painted. I didn't have to paint it myself. And you know, I could probably panel line it myself, but I think it looks fine here. It gets the job done. I have a representation of the dragon, or the Sword of Darkness, I'm sorry. in full form, and I think it's good. And then hidden away in the corner over here, I have the Hasbro release, the Hasbro Dragon Dagger. It's, you know, I'll tell you this, it's fun, but I mean, it's pretty expensive. It's, I believe, $60. Whereas when the Bandai came out, it was only $80. Like, oh, the Bandai is $20 more, but I mean, there's so much die cast in it. The paint's so much nicer. I mean, this looks like cheap mustard gold, right? It doesn't look good. Like, the chrome, here, I'm gonna move Mr. Dragonzord here. The chrome on this is really, really nice, and it's really heavy. This Bandai really did a good job on the legacy weapons, like phenomenal. This looks great. Where the Hasbro, even though it's $20 more, it feels a lot cheaper than $20 more. It's really not that nice. So I don't see it as a suitable replacement for this at all. Like, if you're gonna buy one, it's definitely this one. I'm not too like unhappy I bought this. Definitely could have lived without it. I mean, it's pretty fun. I think the features as far as electronics go are much better than that one. But as a display piece, bar none, it's this one. This is the one you want to get. Okay, moving on here. It's the White Ranger shelf. You know, a little quick little overview here. So Bandai never released a legacy helmet for the White Ranger. So Hasbro, being the good guys they were, when they got the Power Rangers brand, the first helmet that they released was the White Ranger helmet, which I personally was extremely excited about. And I think for the most part, at least for the price of $80 US when it came out, they did a good job. I think it's pretty nice. It's definitely a smaller helmet. I can't personally fit it on my own head, which is fine. It looks fine. I wasn't really going to run around with it on. Anyway, I do like to try it regardless, but it's nice. It gets the job done. It looks good up here. It has this, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the stand, but it's whatever. It's like this cheap sticker. It looks kind of weird. I think this is much nicer. It's just a minor complaint, though. It's way better than spending $400 or $500 for like one of those Aniki helmets if I'm not going to wear it, right? Like, those look great. They're pretty much replicas of the original helmets, but I don't really need it. I just wanted a good representation, and I think this is it. It's good. Looks fine. You know exactly which character it is. Gets the job done. So that's that. I guess we'll go right into this guy. So I just got on a stool. So this is the Legacy Falcon Zord, right? And as far as Legacy Zords go, I mean, sort of by default, this one's just the worst one, right? It's very basic. As far as what he was supposed to, as far as what he does is, as far as combining with other Zords, all he did was be able to go in the back of the Ninja Legacy Zord here. It's just wings. It's very basic. You literally just clip them on. There's really not much to it. I think as a representation of the Falcon Zord from the show, well, in this case, this is technically the movie version. It does a good job. He definitely has the least amount of die cast out of any of the Legacy Zords. He just has it on his feet. You don't see it anywhere else. His paint isn't that great. But he gets the job done. I'm not upset I have him. He wasn't that expensive either. So he's here. and you know, it's kind of sad too, because you could tell Bandai was, like, through this figure, you could tell they were working on a Shogun Legacy Zord, and they just never released it. You have these, like, weird looking clips here. And this thing comes out and makes like a clip. And if you're aware of the original Shogun Zord, he actually, or the original Falcon Zord combines with this original Shogun Zord in a really cool way, which you'll see later. I have it displayed like that. And as far as the Legacy Zord goes, these clips here, as far with any other figure, have no use. They're useless. Whatever they have released beforehand and after this figure, there's nothing that uses these clips here. So all it tells you is that they were 100% working on a legacy Shogun Zord, and it just never came into fruition. We never actually saw it. I mean, it'd be cool to see some leaks or something like that, but it is what it is. I mean, Hasbro has the license now, and there's nothing we could really do. I don't think it's something you could just hand off either, so I don't think we'll ever see it, which kind of sucks, but that's what it is. So again, here's the PCS collectibles. Oh, here, let's see if it focus. White Ranger statue. So I think out of the 3 statues, the red, white, and green that I have, this is the best one. White's just easier to mimic. I think the green on this is a little weird, but it looks fine. Just white's white, so it's easy. It looks good. It looks clean. The sculpt works good. The helmet, the gold on the helmet looks good. The gold, like here, looks fine because the source material, the costumes didn't look super duper high quality, right? Like, they look, I think they were made of foam maybe. So it looks good here. I think this is a good representation of the character. And, you know, the coin base is nice. I like it on all 3 of them, so this is cool. So I bought 2 of these. As you can see, here's one, here's the other. I didn't just move them. I do have 2, and that's why I have 2 of each coin. And then, so, you know, if you were aware, right, all the original power coins got destroyed. And then Ninja made new ones. So you have to buy a second set to get those new coins. Right, and that's why I have both. But that set, that Ninja coin set, didn't come with the White Ranger one. The only way to get the new White Ranger Falcon coin is to buy the movie version Morpher, which I really didn't want to get. I'm not a big fan of, I'm not a huge fan of the original movie personally. I'm more of a fan of the cartoon and the TV, or no, I'm sorry, not the cartoon, the TV show. So I wasn't really keen on getting that. So I went with Starlight Studios. So this is actually an unofficial product. And here's the main difference, right? It's like hollow inside. It's still good quality. It'll still fit in the Legacy Zord. And really, if I didn't say anything, you probably wouldn't know that it's not the same thing until I flipped it over. Like, you could tell this is an official product. It says Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And this isn't. But it's done in the same vein. And it looks good. So, glad to have it up here. And something I didn't mention on the Green Ranger shelf. I have the 8-inch out. So, the 8-inch came with... sorry. I used to have the original Dragonzord over here. But he came with the original Dragonzord. So that's the 8-inch Mighty Morphin Green Ranger figure. And then here's the 8-inch original White Ranger figure. Right, so that's the same line as this. He's not in box because, again, he comes with the original Tigerzord. This is the Legacy. But he comes with the original Tigerzord. I'm not a big fan of collecting in-box things. The only reason I got these in box is because they're just so cheap. It's probably like $10 more to just buy them in box, and I think they display well. But in this case, I didn't really want to buy the Legacy Tigerzord in box. I wouldn't display it that way anyway, because they don't come in the triangle box. They come in like a big box. So these are loose. That's how I like my figures. I like taking them out. But as far as the 8-inch figures go, this one's probably the best one. Really nice. The head sculpt's really good. The swords are really cool. They did a really good job with the stripes on the arm. And the chest plate's really good. This is a really nice one. It's probably my favorite 8-inch figure. And one of my favorite vintage action figures for sure. And then so, this is the Legacy Saba sword. Super nice. Really, really nice. Again, this came out retail, I believe, $100 US. And I think for that price, it's actually really, really, really good. It's really heavy. There's a lot of die cast. The electronics are really cool. The paint's really done. Really well done. The materials are fine. There's nothing wrong with them. The animatronics so cool. It has LED lights. Just a neat sword, and it just displays well. Like, it really does. It just looks good up there. Looks like a nice sword. They even did a good job of the silver on the blade itself is decent. Really good. Really happy with that one. This is one of my favorite shelves. I really like the aesthetic of this blade. And here's the Legacy White Tiger Zord. Again, it's probably my second favorite Megazord in my collection. I think he looks fantastic. This is a great Megazord here. I'm just going to grab him real quick. Not knock over. Like it's just super nice, super clean lines. Really well done. Really good homage to it looks really, really good compared to the original cartoon, or I'm sorry, not cartoon, TV show. Not too crazy expensive. Transformation's fun. Has like a decent enough articulation to make him look really nice. Displays well as a great little nice toy. The aesthetic's really nice. Again, it's white, so using white plastic, it looks great. Really nice. So then finally, up here, this is the Red Ranger shelf. So this one's a little bit more packed, only because the Red Ranger had a lot more Zords. And I wanted to have representations of all of them to make it more, I guess, complete would be the word. I stuck with keeping the Bandai up here. Number one, because it was a gift, and a very nice gift at that. And number two, I actually just prefer this one more. I think the Hasbro Red Ranger helmet isn't as nice as the White Ranger one. I do own it, and I put it in storage because I think it looks really cheap. I mean, so people don't like this because it doesn't have the glossy finish, but the plastic's good quality. Whereas with the Hasbro, like if I put it up here, the problem with it is that the plastic's so thin that it like bleeds through, so it looks weird. It looks really cheap up here, so I took it down. I kept this here. I think this looks much better, and it was also a gift, so that stays up here. And so this is like a more recent Bandai T-Rex Megazord. Doesn't transform, doesn't combine with anything. I have repro labels for it that I still need to put on, but it's pretty cool, fun little toy. This is the Legacy T-Rex Dinosaur. He's only up here because he's not in here right now. So I have him up there. I like him up there. Pretty neat. I like it because it has a really cool, like, old school toy aesthetic. That's probably my favorite thing about the Legacy Megazord in general. The Dragonzord doesn't do that like the Legacy Megazord does, but the Legacy Megazord has like these cool chrome little parts. The head's kind of like funky styled, so it gives like a really weird like chrome, I guess, neo future sort of feel to it, which I like about the Legacy Megazord. Different from the source material for sure, but its own unique aesthetic that I actually like. So over here, oh, see, this is cool. I'm gonna put this down. I'm a little bit high up. So this is similar to these Safubi over here. This is again made in Japan. Let's see if I can get it. Good light. Made in Japan. It's armored red Ranger. Again, this is technically not for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This is for this would be for Daijin, I believe is how you say it. It's the Sentai, what the original show is or what Power Rangers is based off of. That's what this is from. So this, you don't buy this and buy like, here I want the red armored, or the armored Red Ranger. You would buy the Tyranno Ranger, I believe is what it's called. So he's armored, he's cool, he's made in Japan, and in this case, this is probably my best, my one in the best condition as far as those kind of figures I have. So in the back here, I have the Blade Blaster, the Legacy version. Super nice. Really like that. The sounds and stuff are really cool. It's fun. I just like to run around and shoot it. It's cool. I got the Legacy Power Sword. Really hard to come by. I actually bought it from a local like flea market. And the guy sold it to me for retail price, which was $150. It's worth a lot more than that now, and just shipping alone is crazy because it's just an awkward shape and size. So that's really cool. And so here's the Legacy Mighty Morpher. This is the normal one. Red Ranger, right? So I actually have two of these, and I don't know, or I have the other one in storage. The only reason why you can tell I have two is because here's another power coin, and they don't give you two, so have that. Have the Shogun, you know, the individual parts of the Shogun version, Ninja Zord. In the case of the Thunder Megazord, I use like this weird, like really cheap, it's not a morphing or transforming. Let's see if it focuses. Thunder Megazord. So the red Dragonzord is right there. There's the Bandai 8-inch from 1993. PCS collectible. Pretty nice. This one's nice too. Red looks decent. And then this is from the Forever Red line. They had like these little tiny vinyl statues. They're kind of hard to come by. It comes with a few figures. I think you have to buy like 3 or 4 sets. I think I have 1 set. I only really wanted him. It also has a Zeo too, but I don't have him on display. That's them. And then real quick, I have Serpentera hanging over here because I didn't know where else to put him. This is like Lord Zed's ship monster Zord kind of thing. He's supposed to be freaking gigantic. And they fight him like when they go to this different planet. He's cool though. I like him. See, mine's a little cracked over here. I bought him that way only because relative to other vintage Megazords, he's pretty expensive. And I was like, I could live with this crack. So I got him for cheap, which is good. So these are just all the shelves here. Just one more time. Right? Again, Legacy, Chokokin figures, Shrine for Red, White, and Green Ranger. Pretty cool stuff, you know. So right next to that, this is my vintage Mighty Morphin Megazord collection. Right, so this is all of them. Mighty Morphin specifically, so none of these are Zeo. Right, so starting from the left, you have the Thunder Megazord. Again, these are all original from the 90s, made by Bandai. They're all made in China. I don't think any of the Bandai America Power Rangers toys were made in Japan. I don't think so, at least. Really, only the Bandai Japan toys were made in Japan, which I'll show you later. So again, Thunder Megazord on the left. Here's the Shogun Zord with the Falcon Zord. And again, this is what I'm talking about. They never released Bandai never released the Legacy version of this toy. And so here, this is the actual Falcon Zord. This is the original Falcon Zord's integration with the Shogun Zord, which I think is really cool. And that's how I have them displayed. In mine, I put the new repro labels on it. If it focuses. So, he looks pretty nice. I really like the Shoguns. I mean, I really like all the Megazords from Bandai. MMPR line from the 90s. They're all really cool. I really like the aesthetic. They're great toys. They have a really like toy look. And I like that, personally. Over here, this is the Ninja Megazord again. I think specifically this is the movie box version. I don't really know if they're different if you buy the non-movie box. I actually have the box for this. Because, I mean, the guy just gave it to me. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. Not a big deal. It doesn't really change the value crazy much. I mean, I got this not for expensive price. These figures aren't that expensive. Because, again, they just made so many of them. They just made so many. Alright. So then, here's the White Tiger Zord. Original. Again, cool figure. Mine has all of the red spheres. People lose those. I have all of mine, which is cool. I have Ninjor back here. Underrated figure. Really like him. I mean, he's really essential to the collection. He's the one who made all the power coins, so he's essential to the Power Rangers lore. And of course, the big daddy here, Ultra Zord. So this is all 3 of them. You know, you got your original Titanus. You got your Dragonzord. All with repro labels. So the Titanus I didn't repro label up. I didn't really think I needed to. The original Megazord. Put all new repro labels on it. Just super cool. So, again, this is what I'm saying. When it's like all this plasticky and like this is very plastic toy. There's no die cast in here. And it gives a very toy aesthetic. So, in this Ultra Zord form, I actually think this looks really good with these toys. But when you put it in that premium scale Chokokin line, I don't know, it just doesn't look as good to me. So I personally like having the originals displayed like this. And, you know, you can see I'm missing a piece, right? He's supposed to have like a bar here he eats, and there's a chain, so I don't have that. I'm not really too fond of buying that because it's really expensive by itself. If I ever find it somehow for cheap, maybe I'll pick it up, but I think for now, overall, it gets the job done. And he looks really good. Super cool. I mean, the original Megazord is one of my favorite toys in my collection. So, having the whole thing here, it looks good. And just here, just going to back up a little bit here. That's them. Oh, and how could I forget? It took me a while to get these. So, these are the Battleborgs, and of course, his face is being blocked off by the Ultrazord, but these are the Battleborgs. So this is what the Alien Rangers used. And these were hard to get. Like, again, the Alien Rangers was a really short season. Like 10, 15 episodes, I can't really remember, but it's really short. It's just a gap season to get from one series to the next. And, you know, to be complete, you need these Zords, right? To complete the MMPR to Zeo's collection. So I was able to finally get all of them together. And I was really happy to get them. These are cool little toys. They're well articulated for the time period. Again, 90s always. They're cool. I like these. So I'll fix that in a second. So here you have the Zeo Megazord. So I separated them. And I think aesthetically the Zeo Zords are really cool. I like how different they are than MMPR. I mean, MMPR is taken from a lot of Sentai shows, or Super Sentai shows, but whatever Zeo is based on, this show is really cool. So you have here, not as well known, Auric the Defender, or the Conqueror, one of those two. His name's definitely Auric for sure. So he's more similar to like Ninja, where like you do something and he like opens up. He turns into like an Easter Island head, and you have to use this key. Like it looks like a Kingdom's Heart key. I'm not into that game or anything, but that's what it reminds me of. And you plug it into here and it like pops open. And then over here, I have Warrior Wheel. Again, if you're trying to be a completionist, they're essential. I mean, they're Megazords in the show. This is a weird figure. He looks like a football player. Very weird. And I think he only showed up in like 2 or 3 episodes. Same with Auric. They don't really show up that much. But they showed up, and they made toys, and they're considered deluxe. So if it's the deluxe Megazord, I'm getting it, and that's what this is. And honestly, they're really cool. I specifically like Auric a lot. I think it's a great figure. Looks cool. The gimmick's fun. It's a fun toy. I like it. Super Zeo Zord here. Megazord. This one's a really cool one too. And for the time, the articulation was pretty good. He's fun to take apart. He's actually a little bit too tall. I can't fit him. Like if you look here, he's missing his star on his head. I have it. I take it off because it actually doesn't fit in here. But I want him here, so I have to take it off. Really interesting design. I mean, I personally like the shapes. I think it's cool. But not as much as I like the original Zeo Zord, which I think is so cool. This is a really, really nice toy. Probably one of the best, again, in my collection. I really love the gold chrome. I really wish Bandai had made a legacy version, because the one that Hasbro made, even though I do like it, it's ironic that that one doesn't have gold chrome on it. It has like this weird mustard gold plastic like this on it, which doesn't look nice. So, I mean, I still think this is a better representation. I love the blocky look of it all. Really cool. And he looks great with the red Zeo Zord. Another good figure, lots of fun. I don't really know if mine works. It has a really cool battery operated function that I've never tested on my particular toy. But again, this one's really cool. I love the blocky aesthetic. When he's combined with the regular Zeo Megazord, he looks awesome. Not much, like, these are good. The Zeo lines are really good toys. All of them are great. They're really fun.